A burning shoe lay amidst the destruction. Gujaran's face was streaked with tears as he grasped the importance of life. The city burned around him. Jaran stood amidst the carnage, realizing life's fragility. The young man surveyed the bodies scattered around him. Bullets spun towards Jiaran's back. A hand held a gleaming scalpel. The food delivery boy was strapped to a bed as a figure loomed over him with the scalpel. Gujaran's eyes widened in fear as he questioned his captor. A green-haired man threatened to kill the restrained Gujaran. Jiran wondered why he was being targeted for a late delivery. The man demanded answers about Jiran's survival. Jiran explained he was in the toilet during the explosion. The green-haired dude mentioned an online theory about Jiran's regenerative abilities. Jiran transformed, revealing a monstrous form. The attacker called him an undead. Jiran panicked, aware of the murder charge he faced. The man claimed a brain tumor gave him little time left. Driven by a need to do something significant, the man lunged at Gujaran with a scalpel. Terrified, Jiran cried for his mother. Gujaran cried out in apparent pain. The green-haired man mocked Jiran's dramatic reaction to a small wound. The medic observed that the wound wasn't healing. He concluded that the patient was not undead. The medic triumphantly declared his victory in a wager. Jiran was surprised to learn they were betting on him. The green-haired man taunted Jiran, calling him a coward. Gujaran asked for a 5-star rating. The medic told Jiran to get lost. He called Jiran a coward and said he deserved a negative rating. The green-haired dude sarcastically advised Jiran to tell his mother about his grievous injuries. He laughed at Jiran for acting like a hero. A group of men in suits seemed to be discussing a plan. One man advises the boss to ignore something or someone. A quiet alleyway is shown, a blue scooter parked by the side. Meng Yueqi's mother tends to his injury, asking if he's been playing the hero again. The young man denies being a hero, calling himself a coward. His mother vehemently disagrees, holding up a commendation banner praising Gujaran's bravery. Jiran admits he wasn't brave when he received the banner. He confesses to running away initially. During his escape, Jiran accidentally knocked out the perpetrator. Jiran snatches the banner from his mother. A defiant young man declared his cowardice a strength. Gujaran woke up, his expression troubled. He contemplated the nature of heroism. Jiran clenched his fist, seemingly agitated. A boy was being beaten by bullies. Another boy shouted for them to stop. Gujaran stepped in to defend the victim. The bullies turned their attention to the newcomer. Jiran blocked their attack. A boy was beaten by a group of teenagers, accused of trying to act like a hero. He declared that one must have the courage to stand up to injustice to be a hero. The next day, Gujaran, a delivery driver, overslept and was rushing to finish his first order. Jiran raced against time to make a delivery at Phoenix Bank just before closing. He barely made it inside, relieved to avoid a negative rating. Gujaran noticed the unusually early closure and wondered why. Masked figures inside held hostages at gunpoint, commenting on their unique hostage delivery service. Police cars surrounded a building, lights flashing. Officers took aim, weapons drawn. One officer looked sternly ahead as another checked his weapon. A figure in red, Gujaran, landed on a ledge. He demanded a getaway vehicle. A masked man threatened to kill a hostage, Wei Xiao, if their demands weren't met. The woman, Wei Xiao, lay on the ground, terrified. The hostage, Wei Xiao, was identified. Gujaran reacted with surprise to seeing Wei Xiao. Wei Xiao expressed gratitude to her savior. The girl offered him a tassel. Wei Xiao recognized Gujaran with shock. The masked man prepared to execute a hostage. A hand reached out, pleading for a moment. The masked figure taunted, questioning a desire for heroism. A man desperately asked to use the bathroom. The gunman coldly offered an alternative. Jiran begged for another minute. He recalled a catastrophe that revealed life's fragility. The experience intensified his fear of death. Gujaran's legs trembled, unable to support him. He worried about his mother. The young man confessed his profound fear. Despite his terror, Jiran still yearned to be a hero. A masked figure taunted a green-haired young man, Gujaran, calling him a coward. Jiran, with a manic grin, aimed his gun. The masked man scoffed, finding Jiran's supposed heroism ridiculous. Gujaran recognized the man as He Jinyong. The green-haired guy fired. He Jinyong was struck, and a blonde woman screamed in terror. Jinyong crashed to the floor, his phone shattering. Gujaran, wiping his face, commented that fear of death is natural. He added that at least fear keeps one alive, then noticed something odd. A gloved hand held a cloth, noticing the vanished bloodstains. Gujaran, a blur of red, lunged at a man in a suit. The suited man was kicked hard, a gunshot echoing. Jiran tore a piece of fabric, a woman watching in shock. The young man declared his time to become a hero had come. The woman questioned if he was already dead, as masked figures opened fire. Jiran dodged a hail of bullets as the masked men were ordered to fill him with holes. The gunman's weapons clicked empty as Jiran's body glowed with green energy. Goo. Jiran deflected a green energy attack, a woman watching in shock. A masked figure called Jiran a monster. The protagonist kicked the masked man, sending him flying. The masked assailant fired a rifle. Jiran wrapped the rifle with a cloth, disarming the attacker. He then slammed the masked man into the ground. The woman called Gujaran a hero. Another man took the woman hostage. The green-haired man addressed Jiran as Undead. A man toyed with a keychain, questioning how Gujaran became undead. Jiran explained his past cowardice. contrasted with his newfound invincibility. He urged the man to flee. The man admitted he couldn't kill Jiaren, but threatened the other hostages. Jiaren reacted with shock and rage at the man's deception. The green-haired man embraced being called scum, but despised Jiaren's heroic facade. He declared death upon everyone present. Jiaren's face hardened in determination as he gripped a bloody knife. A bloody ring hung ominously. Jiaren lunged, blades flashing, as the green-haired man fired his gun. A girl cowered, covering her ears from the violence. The protagonist deflected. The bullets with a green, swirling energy. Jiaren disarmed the hunter, sending the gun flying. The weapon clattered on the ground near the frightened girl. The green-haired hunter observed the strange power, his glove torn. Jiaren's wounds regenerated, shocking the young woman. The girl saw him as a hero. Police investigated a scene cordoned off with warning tape. The Phoenix Bank stood as a backdrop to the aftermath. A young man, Jiaren, stood before a crowd and a news reporter. Sunset light bathed an office. A masked figure studied a wall covered in notes and photos, hunting someone. The hunter found his target, Jiaren, the undead. Nurses lined a hospital hallway. A nurse professed her eternal support for Jiaren. Jiaren expressed gratitude for her support. Jiaren signed an autograph, requesting 5-star reviews. Jiaren reflected on his improved finances and ability to pay his mother's medical bills. He anticipated his next meal of shredded pork with fish sauce. A syringe suddenly pierced his lunch. The guy was startled by the near miss. A head nurse, Lin Shuiyi, confronted him about unauthorized food distribution. Jiaren apologized and quickly retreated as Shuiyi scolded the gathering nurses and doctor. Walking down the stairs, Gu lamented his lost income. His phone beeped, displaying a strange new order. A bound and gagged woman hung precariously, her predicament signaled through a food order. Jiaren raced to the rescue, determined to save Miss Wei Xiao. Bursting onto the rooftop, the young man scanned the area. Where is she? Jiaren wondered aloud. A cloaked figure appeared, questioning if he'd seen a specific woman. The masked man revealed Jiaren was lured there, mocking his heroic tendencies. A sudden beep echoed as a door slammed shut. Jiaren kicked at the locked door, frustrated. "Shh! I can't open it!" he exclaimed. Jiaren demanded the antagonist stop playing games, citing waiting customers. A blade whooshed through the air. A masked figure lunges, striking Jiaren with a swift blow. Jiaren stumbles and falls, the impact jarring him. He looks up at his attacker, demanding to know their identity and motive. The masked figure retorts, telling Jiaren to focus on survival, not questions. Jiaren pulls out his cracked phone, believing he's safe. The attacker reveals their true target was the phone all along. Jiaren, unable to contact authorities, decides his only option is to scream for help. He yells about a murderer, his voice echoing through the urban landscape as the masked figure watches. The masked man taunted, claiming no one would help even if Jiaren screamed. He warned Jiaren there was nowhere left to escape. Jiaren landed on a rooftop, questioning how the masked figure survived past explosions and robberies unscathed. Jiaren declared his immortality with a smirk. The hunter dared the young man to jump if he wasn't afraid of death. Jiaren took a deep breath, perched on the edge. He hesitated, landing back down. The masked figure mocked, saying even the undead fear death. Jiaren retorted he was only concerned about hurting innocent bystanders. A masked figure lectured, "If you want to be a hero, learn to survive first." Jiaren, clad in red, launched a swift kick at the masked man. "I'm undead," Jiaren declared. "You can't kill me." The masked figure chuckled darkly and stabbed Jiaren, questioning his fear of death. The masked man observed Jiaren's delayed healing, linking it to past incidents. The figure revealed, "Your undead state is restricted by time, only activating after 11 o'clock. Jiaren slammed a door shut, realizing the truth in the hunter's words. Jiaren accused someone of breaking his phone, preventing him from telling time. The masked figure confirmed this was intentional, stating that the boy wouldn't live to see 11 o'clock. Jiaren pointed out his lack of immortality, driving home the threat. The masked individual drew a knife, the blade gleaming ominously. On a rooftop, the two faced each other, the city sprawling below. Jiaren smirked, revealing he could still keep track of time. The masked figure questioned if he had another device. Jiaren confirmed this, revealing the masked antagonist was the source. The youth revealed his wound from the figure was his timekeeping device, healing by 11 o'clock. The masked attacker lunged, declaring Jiaren's death certain if he stayed on the roof. Jiaren blocked the incoming attack with his backpack. A masked figure taunted a fleeing Jiaren. Jiaren knew survival meant taking drastic measures. The youth leaped from the rooftop. The masked hunter called him a maniac. Jiaren's escape line snapped. He dangled precariously, his eyes wide with fear. Jiaren declared his newfound bravery, but his backpack ripped. Jiaren plummeted, screaming for help. He crashed through a window, startling a nurse who called him a pervert. Jiaren warned the nurse of impending danger. The masked man threatened the young woman. Jiaren leaped into action. The young man burst through a window. He kicked the attacker's weapon. The masked figure caught the broken pieces and formed a blade. The hunter stabbed Jiaren in the shoulder. He grabbed the boy by the hair with the makeshift knife. Jiaren urged the terrified nurse to flee. A terrified nurse, paralyzed with fear, realized she couldn't move her legs. A masked figure kicked Jiaren away from her, promising to be her escort to hell. Jiren charged, yelling at the masked man to take his attack. The masked hunter mocked Jiren's attempt, confident in his superior range. Jiren's attack connected, surprising the masked man. Now cursing, the masked man wondered where his targets had gone. The nurse frantically tried to open the doors, none budging. Jiren pointed to a locked MRI room as their last option. Jiren kicked down the MRI room door, the girl inside yelling a warning. Jiren burst from a hospital room, startling a nurse. The young man smirked, grateful for the unlocked door. A masked figure suddenly appeared, ambushing Jiren. The attacker lunged, yelling, "Die!" Jiren shielded the nurse from the blade. He demanded to know why the masked man was trying to kill him. The assailant revealed Jiren's survival of a train explosion ruined his perfect crime. Gu realized the explosion was no accident. He accused the masked figure of being the perpetrator. Jiren vowed to punish the man for the victims. The young man launched an attack. A masked figure challenged Jiren, questioning the strength of his left hook. Jiren unleashed a swift, powerful kick, sending the masked man flying. The hunter crashed into a metal shutter. The masked man realized Jiren wasn't using his injured arm. A girl nearby marveled at Jiren's strength. Go. Jiren prepared another attack as his enhanced senses alerted him to the next strike. He warned of an impending attack from the 11 o'clock direction. Jiren's body rapidly regenerated. The young man declared his newfound invincibility. The masked antagonist conceded. Unable to defeat him, the masked figure bids farewell, launching an attack. Jiren exchanges parting words with a pink-haired woman. He leaps across a gap between buildings. The masked attacker ambushes Jiren. Jiren is caught off guard. The masked man strikes a blow, sending Jiren reeling. Jiren regenerates his wounds. The masked assailant retreats, vowing to return. Jiren fled, pursued relentlessly. A girl watched with concern. The chase continued through a sterile environment. The pursuer taunted Jiren to stop. Jiren retorted with a similar challenge. The masked man questioned Jiren's motive for running. Jiren claimed he was merely exercising to activate a drug. He revealed he'd taken aminoglycosides. The girl recognized the drug's effect, temporary deafness. She asked a chilling question about the unlocked door. Jiren's eyes widened in sudden understanding. The girl urgently told him to cover his ears. The masked figure flipped a switch, satisfied with the sudden silence. Jiren kicked open a vent. The masked man opened fire, aiming at the pink-haired woman. Jiren took the hit for the girl. Jiren's vision blurred. The young man realized his attacker had tampered with the hospital equipment. He questioned the masked figure's identity. The masked figure offered a cryptic answer. The girl held a knife over the unconscious Jiren. The masked man gave them a deadly ultimatum. The pink-haired woman stabbed Jiren while begging for forgiveness. Jiren's wound regenerated instantly. The woman covered her mouth, overwhelmed with regret, then apologized to the boy. Jiren, irritated, questioned her relentless attacks. The masked hunter simply asked if Jiren was truly immortal. He explained his motivation, to discover when Jiren's immortality would expire. The hunter ordered the woman to continue, stabbing Jiren as another minute ticked by. A cry echoed through the sterile hospital hallway. The masked figure chuckled, gun in hand. A wound on the pink-haired woman refused to close. The hunter explained her immortality was now limited, active only from 11 to 1. Jiren's expression darkened as he realized his vulnerability. The masked individual lunged, blade flashing. "It's game over for you," he declared. The woman cried out in fear. A sudden clack startled her. Jiren questioned why the masked man hadn't killed him. The masked figure claimed he never intended to harm Jiren, and even planned to release him. A terrified pink-haired girl was told she had to kill someone. The focus shifted to her legs, and the words, "busty head nurse," appeared. Jiren gripped a knife, facing the masked man. The masked individual pointed a gun at both Jiren and the girl. Jiren asked if he'd be killed if he refused. The masked man shook his head, then threatened to kill them both. Jiren wondered how he could trust the man not to kill him afterward. The man revealed he could have killed Jiren earlier. Jiren realized the gun was a fake and attacked. The masked figure congratulated Jiren. The man seemed pleased with Jiren's deduction. A laser grazed Jiren's leg, a stinging reminder of his predicament. The young man stumbled into a nearby clinic, a nurse rushing to his aid. A masked figure loomed, explaining his twisted game, forcing a hero to become a killer. Jiren refused to indulge the masked man's sick desires. The cloaked figure pressed his leverage. Jiren's mother's life hung in the balance. Jiren apologized to the nurse before accepting the grim task. He gripped a dagger, denying any heroic labels. The youth confessed he had always acted solely for self-preservation. Jiren questioned the nurse's motives for saving him. Resigned to her fate, the girl revealed she had something to show him. She presented him with a fan card bearing his name. Jiren wondered why she stopped his meet and greet. The pink-haired nurse confessed she didn't want him to have more fans. A masked figure threatened them both. The woman urged Jiren to comply. Jiren covered the nurse's eyes. He told her to cover her ears and hold her breath. He enclosed her in a protective bubble, isolating her from the world. He assured her the pain would soon be over. Jiren claimed he didn't deserve to be called a hero. A masked figure counts down. Jiren sprints, determined not to kill. The masked hunter fires. Jaren deflects the bullet. More shots ring out, but the young man dodges. The hunter realizes Jaren used a knife to activate something. The hunter's gun slips. He drops his weapon. Jaren continues his relentless advance. Jaren lunged at the masked hunter. The hunter yanked a lever, a blade shooting out. He chuckled, the sound muffled by his mask. Jaren realized he was outnumbered. The masked figure stabbed downwards. The attack was abruptly halted. The hunter's mask shattered, revealing a bloody face. A trembling nurse aimed her pistol. Jaren landed, the hunter's body falling lifelessly to the floor. A gun clattered to the floor. The young woman confessed, horrified, that she had killed someone. Jaren comforted her, assuring the girl that she had, in fact, saved someone. He tried to soothe her trembling, promising her safety. She pointed, fear gripping her, at the reviving villain. The resurrected man stood, a menacing figure. He turned his masked face towards Jaren. Jaren realized the hunter was like him, undead.